I'll just do a blitz. Sorry that many countries are supporting Hamas. Well, that's all going to change because uh, a lot of people don't know what's happening, except for you people. A lot of people don't know what's happening except for you people. But basically, secretly, the deal is going forward. There's a little bit of a snag with Bibi because Netanyahu feels perhaps that we went behind his back because we gave Oasis One specifically to, I gave it to the entire IDF, including Netanyahu. I gave it to everybody, and they got it and were discussing it a couple of days before Elon Musk got there. And then they turned and gave it to Elon Musk because they hadn't been focusing on the rebuild. They were focusing on the fact that Israel had just been invaded and we were terrified they were going to come and kill us again. So nobody was thinking about the rebuild. So to have a nice coalesced 2-page rebuild was great. And they just gave it to Elon Musk and he said, great, let's meet with Benny Gantz and let's look at the engineering. You know, how can we get a floating pier out there and get these people some food, get them tents, build an oasis, etc. And so it was everybody going forward. And there was a tentative agreement that they were going to work out having Middle East, Saudi Arabia was going to be part of the peace accords, United Arab Emirates, and they were going to stabilize, protect the Sinai, protect the Arab League was going to come in and protect the Suez Canal. And we were going to finally have peace because we were going to build some type of an oasis program similar to or better than whatever I presented, right? Because there's, this was just some random scientist or researcher that sent something. And then Bibi got the feeling that we were going behind his back. And so he started accusing the Americans and Benny Gantz of working behind his back to oust him so that he could get thrown out. And so he began to accuse Benny Gantz of being a dirty trickster. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. And unfortunately, now Gantz has said he's leaving the cabinet. He's leaving the war cabinet if by June 8th, Netanyahu doesn't agree to the 6-point plan. The point is this. When Elon Musk showed up in Israel, Bibi said, oh, you like my proposal? Oh, you like my proposal? Now he's saying Gantz is trying to undermine him. So it's very, it's weird, right? It didn't start off as being for Gantz. It was for everybody. The only reason why I turned around and said this is specifically for the Unity Party I didn't write it for anybody, but now I'm thinking Unity Party, which maybe I shouldn't have done that. The only reason I did that was because I felt like what the data was showing that Benny Gantz was closer to the facts if we're looking at resolving the conflict. So that's where we're at right now. But they can't stay, right? We can't stay. But let's take a look at Netanyahu and Hamas and the future of Gaza. Stalemate. We could be looking at a stalemate. And a lot of people wonder if there are even any hostages still alive. And part of that's because regular Gazans participated in the attacks and some people were killed and were left in tunnels, etc. And then the bodies were not found until later. So for that reason, there's a question about did we wait too long, etc. We get our wish about the rebuild. The rebuild will happen. You can see the Nine of Cups is coming in the seventh house. There's much work to do. The entire Gaza and Sinai has to be built. You can see that Ten of Wands. The hopes and fears is violence. The inverted Queen of Wands who fights for territory. My way or the highway. She picks up the stick and starts hitting you. Four of Pentacles is who's going to pay for the rebuild. We can see here poverty. Over the issue of protecting Hamas, people will move on, and instead it will be the business of the rebuild. You can see the Queen of Pentacles over that rebuild. The money is going to be difficult, but slow and steady wins the race. I do believe that the private sector is going to come in, and some people may not be okay with the fact that TJ Fridays or Kentucky Fried Chicken come in. But the bottom line is that without independent contractors coming in and doing the rebuild, no one's going to have a job. And so, I'm going to go ahead and predict that we are going to see more in the way of independent people coming in. But it's a slow, steady rebuild with the Knight of Pentacles. In terms of Hamas's future, no, there's no future for Hamas. Queen of Pentacles and the rebuild is the future. Also, an inverted Queen of Wands inverted would indicate that there's almost like a fear of war. And this time around, what happened after October 7th, I think it's unlikely that we will see. I think that Hamas is being phased out. Okay. What do I see? Hi, Carol. Thank you for your question. What do I see for Putin? Does anybody think Putin has a future? Discuss. I don't. I think that he's increasingly losing control of his base. I think that Russians are disappearing left and right. I don't know. We'll have he'll be the seventh house since he's the subject. Maybe he's doing great. Let's take a look. He's in his cups. He's created a lot of heartbreak for his enemies. All right. Are we ready? He's in his cups, the King of Cups. He would love for them to take a ceasefire and for him to take Crimea. And whatever territories he currently holds on to. But it's unlikely. It's unlikely, folks. Because his opposition is heartbroken. Hopes and fears that he will be betrayed by his own people. Excuse me. His final outcome, the devil, broken. Whatever drew people to him, it's now over. I don't think he can continue to hold on to the people. I don't think that they will continue to maintain a relationship with him. The stranglehold is over. His clarification. His kingdom is over. He started arresting people that were engaged in fraud. It was, excuse me, it was fraud. Money. His opposition is gaining power, Eight of Wands, quickly. He's trying to get back the money that was stolen. He's trying to recoup lost money. Look at this. He's uncovering stolen money. He wants to put it back towards the war effort. Do you realize how broke they are? It was the beginning of the end when they fired Prigozhin. He's going to get a new income source for the war. But to be honest with you, weapons cache. It's all about his ability to get more weapons. War. Ukraine wins the world. The world is with Ukraine. Money took him out, but he is going to be able to get a hold of some money temporarily with those cards, and it's likely due to the fact that he was he actually had to go and get money that was stolen from within the military so that it could go back to the military. That's how serious the theft was. It's just like when they killed Prigozhin before and they found something like $40 million that he had taken from the West. It was in euros or something. Okay, Sheena, you're in a health battle. Looking for some reading sources on Kabbalah. Yes, the 13 Petaled Rose by Adine Steinsaltz, and anything by Aria Kaplan should get you started. Also, check out anything by Nakama Leibovitz. I think you'll be happy with those people. Okay. Hi, Jen. Good to see you. All right. We took care of the sound problems. Oh, that was a nightmare. Was that not a nightmare or what? The echo is gone. Yes. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Oh, lovely. Barbara Smallwood. Thank you so much for being an elder and a healer. Much appreciated. We finally got the split screen going. It was hard. It was difficult, but we got it going. Thank you, Auntie Scamantha, $4.99 donation. It is much appreciated. Gosh, you guys really came through for me. It's much. Yes, now I'm comfortable. Okay, it took 49 minutes to get it set up, but it was 49 minutes. Oh, thank you, Sugar Baby Mama. Much appreciated. So, what do you think about Ibrahim Raisi? In, out. He was assassinated. I think he was assassinated. I think they poisoned. You know, I think the moderate Iranians took him out. Persians took him out, and first by putting him in a rinkety. They made it look like it was an accident by putting him in a rinky-dinky helicopter. But I think, what do? You put a little rice in the pilot's coffee mug while he's sitting around waiting to go up and he's going to pick people up. Hey, here's your thermos of cardamom tea. Enjoy it, right? So the guy gets up there. He's in a rinky-dinky plane. It looks like it's an accident. What was the last thing the guy said before he crashes into the mountain? Anybody know what the pilot said before he crashed into the mountain? He said, "I don't feel so good." Right? So what do I think is going to happen? I know. I don't feel so good. Well, he didn't feel so good, and he crashed it into the mountain. And so do I think that we're looking at another civil war in Iran? Yes, my loves, I do. Very much so, I do. Because I think that this is a vacuum. I think that he was up to be taking the role of Al Khamenei, who's currently in charge, 85 years old. When people say that Abraham Raisi had no power, boy, are they wrong. He was the butcher of Tehran. He had tremendous power. He had his finger this close to the nuke because, again, remember, this guy, Al Khamenei is 85 years old. He could die any day now, and that means that the butcher of Tehran would be very likely the next in charge. And so this idea that, oh, he had no power, oh, it was an accident. A lot of these types of accidents have been engineered. But I think it's an attempt by I don't think it's Israel. I think it's moderate Iranians from within the government that are trying to take out extremist within their own government. And I think that extremists are fearing for their lives and they're jumping ship. And in some cases, they're quitting the government altogether. And in some cases, the only choice for Iran, I think it's going to be full-blown revolution by this summer. I think we're looking at another Arab Spring, and I think the Persians are going to be involved as well. I think we're going to start seeing protests in Iran, but we're also going to start seeing protests in North Africa as well, because there's this growing tension between Islamist and secularist, particularly young people who don't want to be part of these extremist movements, and they want to normalize relations with Israel. So we're going to start seeing all of that happening between now and this summer. But I really think it's going to start taking off. You know me, I always give you a heads up of 2 to 3 weeks, because gosh darn it, that's how we roll here on the Oracle of Whimsy. Thank you so much, Silver Tongue, for joining Elders and Empaths. Much appreciated. And Barbara Smallwell, thank you so much for your support of Elders, Empaths, and Healers. We get together on Friday. We'll be doing our open final exam for Healers and Empaths learning HCRV this Friday at 6 p.m. And then we'll be rolling right into our series of the Mystical Tarot. The Mystical Tarot, where we teach you how to use the cards using your psychic and intuitive abilities. So we hope you'll join us for that as well. Okay. So people want to know if we're looking at a third child for Meghan and Harry. Well, you know, the beautiful Princess Meghan is getting a little bit, not that she ever looks bad because she is ageless, of course, but she is getting up there in years. And, you know, you got to dust off those eggs if you want to have babies. I think she's 41. So she's very, very healthy. She's very, very healthy. Let's take a look if there's more babies for the beautiful Princess Meghan and Prince Harry. Princess Mawaga of the Igbo. Mm-hmm. They're very in love, and they're not going to be breaking up. I'm sorry to anyone that was secretly hoping. Their immediate environment is 2 of Cups. You saw me shuffle the cards. People like, you're manipulating the cards. Their 7th house is the 2 of Cups. You tell me, how are they doing? You read cards. Let's do it together. How are they doing? They're doing great. Look at that. This guy and he only has eyes for you, dear. Right? You look at the 2 of Cups and he only has eyes for her. I mean, is this not just who he is? He's just all about Meghan. I mean, that man. God, I want a man to look at me the way that Prince Harry looks at Meghan. His opposition, the king. Who's the emperor? Who's your emperor, baby? Who's your emperor? It's usually king, royalty, the head monarch. Can you imagine that? I mean, it's like, I don't even know how you would have to have a great, great love to be able to survive this kind of opposition. The hopes and the fears for both of them: prison, incarceration, that they will not be free of this. And the final outcome for them both: more babies coming, 10 of Pentacles. They're building that legacy. We could be seeing another child. Simintava, 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 Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simintov, Sim. You know that song? Simintava, Mazel Tov. Hey, la. Yeah. All right. The clarification over these two lovebirds is there is Megan. She is off to become a very powerful businesswoman, the future of the royal family. Marriage is ending, and we could see a divorce that will shock the world taking place in the royal family. An inverted Four of Wands. It's also the curse of new projects that never really get started, never really get off the ground. Owie, owie. Hopes and fears, health concerns. There's health concerns here. And over their legacy, I'm coming up. Ace of Rods, which also, by the way, is, well, let us be blunt, it is a happy, wet red willy. That is the best way to describe that red Ace of Wands. It is a man with a stiffy on. It is a red stiffy over legacy. So let's just put it this way. How well do you think Harry and Meghan are doing? I want to know her trick. I want to know what she's doing to get her husband to feel this way about her. Look at that. Isn't that great? He would love to give her another baby. He is gaga. This is a baby, by the way. They also genuinely are afraid of the firm getting access to their children. There's a real fear of incarceration of the children, that because of who their children are, the children could be facing harassment. Look at this, the king, projects that don't get started, or the ending of a potential chuppah, or this can be a wedding canopy, so it could indicate the end of a marriage. I don't know. I hope it's not the King Charles wedding. I hope he's not getting a divorce, but possibly somebody close to King Charles. We could be seeing a royal divorce or the end of something. I think of the Four of Wands as the wedding canopy or the chuppah and the bride and groom celebrating a new beginning, and it's a new marriage, and so it only has the house only has 4 posts, but you can see no new beginnings. Nobody's committing genocide. That was debunked. Yeah, that's not a real story, A-Dub, but people don't support people that engage in genocide because there isn't genocide happening in Gaza. There was genocide happening against the Jews when they got attacked by Gaza. We don't parrot fake news from Al Jazeera. And it's too bad that Al Jazeera creates fake news. All right, let's see here. Feisty One's got a question. Rose Hanbury. I'm not totally convinced Rose Hanbury is having a love affair with William. I think she threatened to sue some people. I think that she is part of the close inner circle of maybe 40 families that all live in the same proximity and grow up together. I think it's a very myopic, incestuous, narcissistic group of people that control a small amount of power. And her husband are part of the inner circle, and so they attend many events. And clearly, because of her husband's station, their son gets to carry the royal gown. This family is very close to and has a long history of being trusted close friends of the royal family. And I'm not sure it has anything at all to do with Prince William. So let's take a look at Rose Hanbury. Could be that she's just somebody you can trust, who's grew up around the royal family. Her and her husband are close members of the inner circle, and so that's why they attend. And she hasn't done anything wrong, so why not attend a tea party? She's always been close to this family, right? So that's another way of interpreting it. She's very guarded. You can see the Four of Pentacles. She's being very, very careful about who knows her business. Her opposition is very strong. Somebody who she's having opposition with is quite strong. Her hopes and fears is whether or not she should hang something up. And her final outcome is she gets her wish. People were talking about her getting a divorce from her husband. I think that was debunked. Her and her husband were at the recent ceremony at the church. They were wearing pink. I don't know what that event is, where you're supposed to wear pink. Yeah, and Rose was there, happy with her husband. There's no sign that they're getting a divorce or that he's gay or any of these other stuff. I just think it's that he's off with some homosexual lover in Amsterdam. Clearly not if he's with Rose walking out of the church with their son carrying the king's robe. I think that they're just good friends of the family. And maybe she was deeply offended, genuinely so. She gets her wish regarding a long-term goal she has for herself. There's some woman she's fighting. There's some woman who she has conflict with. She's a thief attempting to steal something. We could be looking at a conflict between her and another woman. That's true with these cards. So it is possible something could be going on. You take a look here. She's being very guarded. Her opposition is strength or trying to get well. Again, that could be an indication of Kate. She had a health crisis. She's getting well. And then again, we have possibly Kate here, the Queen of Swords. This is also a divorcee or an older woman who puts the past behind her. We can see here Rose's card, the Three of Wands. She's trying to build a new beginning for herself. The hope and the fear at this time, letting things go and her own mastery to handle the situation. She gets her wish, but we do have this thief card or desire to flee a situation like a thief. I think she could be battling it out with another woman. The thing that's interesting here is that she may have underestimated Kate. I think that if there is a relationship happening with Rose Hanbury and William, it's not going to last. I don't see any kind of strong relationship between Rose Hanbury and William. I just don't. Guarding herself. She doesn't want to be in the middle of this. Two of Swords. Whatever's going on here. I think Kate's just hear no evil, see no evil. She's just worrying about her health. But flees like a thief and Knight of Pentacles. I don't think Rose Hanbury is going to be with William. I know people think, well, it's her destiny because of Camilla. That's just a story. I see her with her husband, and I don't see her with William. And if she was being really nice and just or even if she did have a love affair, it didn't last. I don't see it lasting. The books that I recommended was The 13-Petaled Rose by Adine Steinsaltz. Adine Steinsaltz is an American, I think he's a physicist and also a Kabbalist, and probably one of the greatest Kabbalists alive today. He wrote 13-Petaled Rose, and that's a great introduction. And anything by Aria Kaplan is also considered good if you're wanting to be introduced to Kabbalah. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Missy Bonds. Yeah, spouting genocide. Yeah. Well, people don't know any better. People don't know any better. I mean, it's horrible. If somebody really was engaging in genocide, that would be terrible. I mean, children are dying in Gaza, and that's horrible, which is why we want Hamas to be gone. It's a very and to keep saying these it's their culture, forcing people to practice your extremist religion and then killing them if they want to practice a different religion. If that's your culture, there's something wrong with that. I mean, you can't be a Christian anymore in um, some areas of the West Bank because people are afraid for their safety, and that's not really um, that's not freedom. That's not how it should operate. Um, Daisy Santiago wanted to know who stole her brother's money. Somebody stole your brother's money? That's really pretty horrible. Let me see if I get anything on that. Looks like somebody stole the money that may have known him through a romantic relationship or something like that. Yeah. So it could be he had a girlfriend and her and some guy stole the money or something of that nature. There's something about opposition with a former relationship, or if he was gay, it could have been a former ex that was a bail. But there's something about a former relationship and a man here involved in a theft. Mhm. Unfortunate. People tell themselves lies. They tell themselves that they're entitled to this or they're entitled to that. And yeah. All right. Will the World Health Organization be successful in having nations surrender their sovereignty regarding health initiatives? I don't think that's what the World Health Organization has the power to do. The World Health Organization collects data from the CDC and vice versa. So what we try to do is if there's a pandemic, we try to share the information as quickly as possible with Centers for Disease Control globally through the World Health Organization. So everybody goes to the World Health Organization if it's and they get their information, and then it's shared with various different CDC-like organizations in their own country. So the idea is that if we do this, we can reduce the possibilities of having lots of people die, like in the case of the Spanish flu of 1919, where 60 million people died. And in fact, with the help of the World Health Organization, we have reduced the number of deaths in pandemics because of their ability to centralize the information and get it to as many people as possible as quickly as possible. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. All right, we took care of the sound. That's good. What do you guys okay, Harry. Will Harry be at Invictus? Yes, Harry will always be at Invictus. You can't do Invictus without Harry, and you can't take Invictus away from Harry. It's just not going to happen. If that happened, he would just start another type of Invictus in Africa and call it something else, and then everybody would go to the new African version. They can't stop Harry and Meghan. And then the old Invictus would collapse because it's not as cool as the new one, right? Because Harry's not here anymore. We're going to the new. You see, that the problem is for the royal family that the coolest kid on the block, The coolest kids are Harry and Meghan, and they're not the cool kids. They're boring and stiff, and everybody wants to hang out with the cool kids. So it doesn't matter if you don't have the cool kids, uh, and that's the issue. Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, we're still talking about the Echo. Okay. Another comment about the royal family. I think William will try to take over if he let me pull this down. I think William will try and to take it over if it is held there. They will compete with Harry. Your echo is not evident, Whimsy. Okay, I got rid of the echo. Well, let's take a look at the future of William. I've always said that I felt bad for William, that I felt that he was not mentally well, that he had had a difficult childhood, he had a head injury, and yeah, I felt bad for the guy. What is the future for William? Power. The power. He has the power, the magician. You know, after his grandmother died, it was like he could finally be free. He felt like he was free. He didn't have to be in a marriage he didn't want to be in. He could go be with any girlfriend he wanted. There's this sense of power, right? Because it's just there, freedom. His father's not going to stifle him. His father lets him do whatever he likes. His opposition is chained. His opposition is chained. His hope and fear, power, Ace of Wands, right? And the final outcome for him, Queen of Pentacles. That's Meghan's card. The businesswoman, or another woman. Or it could be that he's starting a business. Let's get some clarifications on this. Over his power, he refuses to see how he has made his own life difficult. His opposition is chained and taking away the weapons of war against their enemies. His hopes and his fears regarding his power, a new beginning or a new relationship. And his final outcome, this woman in the grave, Four of Swords in the grave. Somebody takes the weapons of war against him. You know what? I think that Meghan's going to sue him. I think he's going to be dismantled because this queen, and then he's taken out, and then she takes the weapons of war against him. He's in denial. He's really facing some legal hurdles with Meghan going forward. I think it's that legal battle. I really do. I really learned a lot from Meghan about not being a doormat and to keep fighting. And they're going to say, "Shit, that woman's crazy," and then you keep slamming them with lawsuits because there's a certain type of cocky person that Donald Trump's an example where they think it's all a joke until you slap them with a ton of lawsuits. And that seems to be what happened with William. He literally thought that he was going to eat this little actress for breakfast. But what happened instead? She flipped the switch, and now they're coming after him. I mean, you can imagine. Two of Swords, he's in complete denial. He's in complete denial of what I think that he could be taken out by Meghan. He has completely underestimated her power. Well, legally, he could be sued. All right. When will Oh, I'm sorry, you guys, about the sound. I'm trying. When will we sell our house? When will Angel sell her house? Inverted Five of Wands. Well, there was a lot of fighting going on with you guys about how to go about it. I mean, there were some disagreements on how to go about it, and maybe you guys were deciding, yeah, you guys are moving out. Oh, probably before the fall. 10 of Wands is October, and also to pack up and move on. You can see somebody gives them the offer. Two of Cups. What's also interesting, were you two arguing about how much you guys should fix up the house before you sold it? Well, if we fix it up, we can sell more. No, just sell as is. I just want out, because you can see here, 5 of Wands is inverted. We're done fighting about this. A new beginning regarding the house. Others were devastated perhaps by the economy, but then they have this offer come in, hopes and fears. What it was going slowly, but they get their wish. They leave, pack up and move, possibly sometime before October of 2024. Yeah, that's your read. All right, darlings. Ah, thank you, Sheena. You're the best. You guys put up with my cranky self. Aw, thank you, truth lover. I'm trying. I'm trying. You know what though? It's not about I I have to learn the spiritual lesson of not being a control freak. That's what I think. I have to learn the spiritual lesson of uh that horrible feeling I have when I don't have control, and I have to admit don't have control. Who goes berserk when they Okay, let's do a test. Let's do a test. Okay. If you are walking down the street and you have an address, and and you can't find the address, or you're driving in the car and you can't find the address, and you're 30 minutes late, how do you react to that? And you're driving back and forth, or you're walking back and forth, and you have no control over this situation. How do you handle it? Nobody can help you. People are avoiding you. Nobody can help you. There's nowhere to park. It's pouring rain. People are honking at you. You were supposed to be at the appointment 30 minutes ago. Go. Talk to me. How do you feel about this situation? I can tell you what I do. Well, if nobody's in the car with me, it's gonna get pretty rude and crude pretty quickly. I'm gonna be like screaming, yelling, like just nothing sets me off and makes me go crazy, like not being able to control a situation, and not being able to find something is my biggest psycho meltdown. Like, if anything's gonna cause me to have a meltdown, it's that. It's like, "I don't know where anything is, I can't." Oh my god. If it's in the house and I just misplaced it, that's one thing. But if it's an appointment and it's pouring rain and you gotta use the restroom. Or remember when you were younger, pouring rain and it's that time of the month and you gotta get to a bathroom? Remember those days, lady? And you're in a town that doesn't let women use the restroom unless you have to pay for something? How's that? These are the things that make us human, right? New York City, women in their 20s and 30s, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, the times when women are menstruating and they need to take care of that. The frustration. I was reading this article, a woman doctor, she was saying that men have no capacity to understand. Men keep saying, well, can't you just stop that? No, we can't just stop that. The blood is just coming. It's just coming, and we can't stop it. Like they just don't. Well, why can't you stop it? I guess this is the days before menstrual cups. I guess menstrual cups can go for 8 hours or something. But all these things make us human. And in Chinese medicine, it's called congested liver qi, where that, the liver gets congested and it's and you actually can feel the heat, and then you might get hot flashes. I'm having a hot flash. I'm having a hot flash. And then If the heat goes through the eyes, like evil eye, right? You have heat going through the eyes. We say that's liver rising, liver heat rising and going out through the eyes. The liver, yeah, the meridian goes in those directions, right? It, yeah, comes down, over, out of the eye, down, and but you can feel that. If you feel that congested anger, they say that comes from the liver. Now, then the question is, well, how do you heal congested liver? Well, number one is coffee is terrible for congested liver, right? So I'm a lot less, and congested liver is associated with fire and associated with wands, right? So in Chinese medicine, we would say green, right? So liver and gallbladder's color is green, and it's associated with wood, and wood is associated with wands. So when we talk about mystical tarot, which is when I teach it, we talk about the relationship between these energies, this idea that wands are associated with the wood element, and that when it can't grow, when it can't move, you have what's called congestion. Yeah. And territory and flow and the need to move is a huge part of the energy of liver, gallbladder. Illness happens when we lose flow. It's also this idea that we lose flow, anything becomes congested, then we see the beginning of the end, right? Whether it's not being able to, if a man has an enlarged prostate and then they don't have healthy flow, right? So then we would have to focus on how can we help the flow. If the person has coronary artery disease, this can be another example of not having adequate flow, right? Constipation, right? Not having flow. So we always think about flow as naturopathic doctors when we're talking about energy as well. All right, question. Are those countries really supporting Hamas or upset by innocent Palestinians being killed? Well, I think it depends on the person. Innocent Palestinians being killed is horrible. But I think most people that are aware of the situation know that Israel is sending leaflets telling people to move before they blow up the tunnels, and people have a week to move. So if innocent people are being killed, it's usually because Hamas supporters are shooting and killing anyone trying to escape the area. So yeah, we're very upset about it. But we understand the bigger picture, and so that's why we're really blaming Iran, since Iran is the one currently occupying Gaza. Hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately, Iran has been occupying the people of Gaza since 2005, and as a result, they've been lying about what life is like under their rule and how Iran has been oppressing the people of Gaza. Yeah, under Hamas, forcing women to dress modestly, killing people who play music. Yeah, killing gay people, throwing them off rooftops. Forced marriages is a big thing that a lot of women in Gaza are just now starting to come out, that their children were kidnapped by Hamas fighters, forced into the tunnels, forced against their will to marry these people, had children with these people, and then were forced to die or were not allowed to flee with their children. So those stories are now just coming out. It's a terrible, violent cult. It, like I said, it comes out of Iran, Islamic Brotherhood, and it's terrible. Definitely not going to get an argument from us. Candy. Will life after Donald Trump and COVID feel normal again? Yeah, when we decide that it's going to be normal again, that's when it gets to be normal again. It's okay that we had a rough time. I think that there's gonna be civil war in Iran. I think it's gonna start within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I always, I'm fair with you guys. I try to give you dates. I try to be I want the regular population to be able to get to meet and greet a real remote viewer and not like the foo we do a little foo-foo here stuff, but we teach the real technique also. And, and then it's cool because you guys get to have the news 3 weeks early, and then you get to tell all your friends, and your friends think you're a genius, and, it's awesome, right? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say 2 weeks before we see civil war in Iran. Yeah. Are people surprised? Are people surprised that we're looking at civil war in Iran and that this vacuum of extremists dying in plane crashes and car crashes is leading to a vacuum that will destabilize the country? Is anybody surprised? No. That it was intended to destabilize the country, right? Let's take a look at Iran's future. Very difficult right now because of sanctions. I think this regime is finished. I think that they simply are not strong enough. I think now we will see the death of the Al Khamenei. The Al Khamenei regime is. You can see Four of Pentacles. They were really bankrupted. Doesn't surprise me that Raisi was Ibrahim Raisi was in a helicopter that was 45 years old. Look at this. Just the sanctions really harmed them. Their opposition wins. So again, that would lead me to think that they're going to start moving towards moderation. Hopes and fears, extremism, they want moderation. You can see death here over the current regime, which also, with an inverted death card, could mean more violence, more blood in the streets, unfortunately, which is what we don't want to see. But let's do a clarification with the inverted death card. Smoother waters lay ahead for Iran. I'm seeing a lot of protest and a lot of violence, unfortunately. They will make a deal. We're looking at a more blended society, a more integrated society. You can see the lovers moving in and the Six of Pentacles, which would indicate, again, that we're moving towards some kind of cooperation. I don't like seeing an inverted death. That can sometimes be a sign of physical death. And I don't like the fact that the opposition to the current regime has a Four of Swords. This juxtaposition has me nervous. But we have a wish card here, and we have a Six of Pentacles, which is a payout. It's also a benefactor. It's also justice. So in answer to your question, yes, unfortunately, this is how human rights are fought. People have to sacrifice their lives for freedom, and that's unfortunately what happened. I was really disappointed to see the interview between Jerry Seinfeld and Bill Maher, where they both said that they were not going to lose any sleep if Donald Trump won the presidency because everything's fine for them and they're able to go to a nice restaurant and pay $700 for dinner. And I just thought, well, that's good for you that you're on the top of the mountain. The rest of the mountain is burning, but you're okay because you're on the top of the mountain. So who cares? You're not dying in Crimea right now. You're not dying in Gaza right now. So you don't have to worry about Donald Trump getting into the White House because you can afford a $700 dinner. But life isn't just about whether or not you can afford a $700 dinner, which seems to be what Bill Maher and Jerry Seinfeld were saying. It's about everybody. It's about the whole picture. It's about who's going to be able to broker peace and rebuild Gaza and create a safe place for everybody. I don't think it's going to be Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump can do that. I don't think the tension right now between Egypt and Israel, we're on the verge of war between these two countries because of their failure to control the arms that were coming in through Egypt. We knew this was coming. Now it's here, right? So we just have to keep reminding, particularly people who support Israel, that it was Trump who did this to Israel. He pulled U.S. troops out of Iraq. He pulled U.S. troops out of Syria. He dismantled, we abandoned the Kurds because of him. Hezbollah moved in. The Houthi moved. He created the very destabilizing environment that we're currently dealing with Israel, Lebanon, Gaza, etc. And people need to be reminded of it over and over and over again. Talk is cheap. Nobody cares. What does it matter if you move the embassy to East Jerusalem if you have to move 70,000 Israelis out of the north because the dodo had pulled U.S. troops out of Iraq and Syria? So we're sitting ducks now because of this. So, yeah. All right. I don't know how to pin a comment, but I can give you a heart. Sheena, what's up with Jay-Z? Will he get caught soon? Well, Mr. Jay-Z and Beyonce, I mean, like, these people are terrible. They're terrible. It's not something that you should be proud of. I don't know how Jay-Z would be able to come back from this. Do you? Like, how would Jay-Z be able to he gets his wish regarding his opposition, King of Rods. It's a bit of a power issue going on. His future partnerships, Six of Cups. Is there any possibility that he's the one that stabbed Diddy in the back? Because he gets his wish. His opposition is another man, the King of Rods. There's some kind of new partnership in Six of Cups. Yeah, Ace of Cups. He turned on Diddy, or he may have turned state's evidence against people, and he took care of himself and his own family. You can see the legacy in Six of Cups is with Jay-Z. Jay-Z will turn on Diddy and anybody else in order to save himself. Just because King of Rods is Diddy's card. Is Diddy an Aries? Oh, he's a Scorpio. That's right. He's a Scorpio. He's a Scorpio, but he actually acts a lot like an Aries. He's very hot-headed. I would not be surprised if he had a lot of fire in his chart, and he often presents as a King of Wands. He doesn't present as a Scorpio. Scorpios explore the light and birth and death, etc. But this psychosis you see with Diddy is more malevolent. It's more like the energy you would see with the King of Rods. He's really facing incarceration, by the way, Diddy, 100%, with an Eight of Swords. And I'll tell you something else. They're going to take his house. They're going to take his property. They're going to take everything, because the takeaway from an Eight of Swords is that the person is in red tape. And that could be that they're going to get him on taxes. He's got that red tape just totally around him. But look at this offer coming in right over Jay-Z with the Nine of Cups. This guy's going to be able to possibly skate, but not so with Diddy. And then look at this Six of Swords is to skate. It's smoother waters lay ahead regarding his new beginnings and partnerships. And then 10 of Pentacles is his legacy with a Six of Cups. I'm sorry to say, I don't know what's going to happen next year, but for the time being, Jay-Z is safe. And I think it's because he's cooperating or working with the feds. Yeah. Are people surprised? You're entitled to feel how you feel, Ellis S. We just want people to be informed about the facts, because It was debunked. There was no genocide, and they lied about the number of children being killed. There no child should die, though, which is why Hamas is so evil. To put your wife and kids in that situation, is psych and to say that you love death, that's really pretty sick. Normal people shouldn't think like that. Yes, personal question. Yeah, we're kind of like this. If we got time, people are making donations, so yeah, whatever, it's cool. Yes, we talked about Harry and Meghan expanding their families. We talked about the books. Very good. I'm just trying to make sure I get to everyone's question. Yeah, we don't want to spout genocide. We want to keep our facts straight. We don't want to go accusing people of things that are not real. I'm excited to hit my local bookstore. Oh yeah, good for you. Yeah, anything by you'll be in good shape. A lot of people are getting interested in Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism. Yeah. Cranky, just bitchy. You're cranky or you're bitchy? Or you're cranky or I'm bitchy. I'm definitely bitchy. I've got to work on it. Yes. Oh. Will one or more of the Supreme... Okay, we have another question here coming in from Web Shiva. All right. Will one or more of the Supreme Court justices be forced to resign or removed? Boy, wouldn't we like to know. What do you guys think? Yes, no, maybe? I'm thinking that a couple of them are in serious trouble. Kavanaugh for taking money, Thomas for taking money, and now Scalia is in trouble, right? So we've got 3 with questionable backgrounds. Well, people are being very defensive. You know, there's also people that think that Sotomayor should leave because she's having health challenges due to diabetes, right? So people are saying she needs to step down. Her health, also, is she showing signs of early dementia? Like there's certain people saying that Sotomayor is having some real serious health challenges. We can see the first house is the 7 of Rods. So people are being defensive regarding the issue of whether or not they can be removed. However, the opposition to the removals appears to be winning. There's something here about issues regarding Ace of Pentacles possibly taking money. And then the final outcome is the Queen of Rods, who seeks justice absolute. So it's very possible. We could be seeing somebody stepping down and a new person coming in, possibly around... Oh, hi, Jill. Good to see you. Possibly around August, a changing. Somebody doesn't want to leave and they're defending themselves, but we can see we get our wish in August. And then 2 of Cups with the Queen of Rods. We're looking at possibly at least one new Supreme Court person. Mm-hmm. I think it's very likely that we're going to get at least 2 more people in under Biden. I think Biden's going to win, and I think we're going to get at least 2, possibly 3 new Supreme Court. It's a lot of people getting old. So that's the whole thing with the Supreme Court. It just, that people can stay until they are senile, and that's really dangerous. I really think we need to reform the Supreme Court. Oh, thank you, Chili Dog. That's very kind of you. I do appreciate that. So specifically, people want to know about Aito. I said Scalia. I meant to say Aito. Is Aito and Thomas going to be removed? Let me look at Alito first. Excuse me. Alito's not leaving. Not only that, but I would think that he would be extremely defensive with that card. The high priest is coming into seventh position. I'm not going anywhere. Opposition is having to defend themselves. Hopes and fears. Well, your finances. There seems to be something going on with the Seven of Pentacles. Nine of Cups, he gets his wish. I don't see Alito going anywhere. There's another woman coming, though. I always saw a guy, but now I'm seeing a woman. This Queen of Rods is coming. We're seeing a new person on the bench. So maybe Thomas is leaving, or if Sotomayor leaves, they might replace her with another woman. Let's take a look. What's the story with Thomas? Bribes, bribes, bribes. That's what I get with Thomas. Bribes, bribes, bribes. He's under investigation for bribes, I think. Six of Cups to take a gift. Two of Wands, his partners, hopes and fears. Seven of Cups, delusion. Five of Pentacles, poverty, over the issue of the gifts he took. There's an investigation. Knight of Pentacles, investigator. He's got investigation. He's going to be replaced by the King of Rods. That's the Latino guy I keep seeing. His seat will go to some guy who's the King of Rods. And I keep having a vision of like a Latino or Native American man coming in. This man replaces him. He's under investigation for his partnerships. This is the FBI's card. Look at this. Also his investments. Man, that guy is compromised. Alito seems to be much more solid with those cards. Yeah, there's going to be a peace treaty. I think that I really do believe that Iran wants to normalize relationships with the West because they can't continue on with these sanctions. And I really think that they are taking out their own hardliners. I don't think they didn't have to call Israel. All they had to, who are you going to call? They just did it. They're doing it themselves. And this is not the first time that they've arranged a car accident or helicopter crash or something like that. It made me put myself in the situation. I'm waiting around talking to my friends who are other pilots. I go and I get my thermos of coffee. I fly this rinky-dinky helicopter. Maybe I'm experienced. It'll be okay. I pick up my people. I offer them some of my cardamom tea or whatever I'm drinking. About 15 to 20 minutes after that, I start to feel bad. And then a heart attack is induced. The next thing I know, I fold over like this. And I went into the side of a mountain, and then I saw the helicopter go down into a ravine, which was hidden by trees, which is why they weren't able to see it initially. I think he shared his tea, by the way. It's very nice of him, right? Shukran. Thank you for sharing your cardamom tea. So more than likely, they were 15 to 20 minutes into the flight. They'd probably had a little tea. They were probably not feeling too well. The pilot calls in and says, "I'm not feeling so good." And then they lose radio communication. So what does it look like? It looks like bad weather and a bad helicopter, and no one's the wiser. C'est la vie. Poisoned. Just poison the guy. Are they going to do an autopsy? And can you even look for ricin? Or Kolchak or whatever this poison is? It takes 2 minutes once it hits the heart, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to be digested. So he probably got to a cruising altitude, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes. And then he popped open his tea. They timed it perfectly. He poured a cup for himself. He probably offered some to the other people, passengers. They sat around sipping it. It was filled with ricin or whatever the poison was. And 15 to 20 minutes after that, they were dead. Queen of Broads, truth lover. Queen of Rods. Yeah, we are broads. That's right. Thank you for your donation, love. Much appreciated. I do appreciate it. No, I don't get all the money, Villa Verde. I get most of it. A little bit has to go for upkeep, but that's okay. SCOTUS is compromised. You know, Joel, you're so right. And it is what it is. Tariana, I'm thinking that Sotomayor will be stepping down, and I think that's okay. I don't think she's going to be holding on the way other people have. I think she will know when the time is right. Kavanaugh is very clearly compromised, and yet I always have found that there's a struggle to remove him. Thomas is out. Those cards for Thomas don't look good at all, and I really don't think he's going to be able to stay in. The heat has gotten too hot for Thomas. Aido, on the other hand, with a magician card, he's cocky. It's a feeling like you can't touch this. Do 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 boom. You can't touch this. Do do. It's that. So we have to kind of. It will play itself out. Bay's fame? What are you guys talking about? Really interesting. I don't get good feels from Tina. She seems to be benefiting a lot from Bay's fame. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Maybe Miss Tina indicates Sherry Shepherd's show that she has been waiting for the right time to launch what has been a dream for her hair products. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's gonna and Barrett has an autoimmune condition, I think, is what the public information is, that Miss Barrett does have that. Well, we wish I don't want people to be sick. I'm not the dark emperor or anything. Just whatever they think I am. I don't know. Who poisoned the Iranians on the helicopter? And yeah, now it started. Other people are figuring it out. Now they're openly talking about poisoning. And the Iranians did it. The Iranian moderates. Israel didn't do it. Israel doesn't have to do it, because Israel can say, we support you. We support the fact that you want to be free. We understand your frustrations. They may know that certain people want to normalize relations with Israel, namely because they're afraid of having the atomic bomb dropped on Tehran. They're really afraid of what would have happened if Emmanuel Raisi would have become the new supreme leader. Would we be looking at an even more extreme leadership? Because again, Al Khamenei is 85 years old. He's not long for this world. So this idea that the other guy, Raisi, had no power. Imagine if the VP was a psychopath and Biden was 85 years old and on death's door. Would you say, oh, he's not important to assassinate? No, you would understand that the opposition would be terrified and assassinated him for good reasons. But again, it was likely the Iranian people themselves. So this one coming in from Joel Tilson. Thank you, Joel, for coming in. This was unplanned. It's courtesy of the IRS. Oh my God. So unfair. Well, last time they did this, they gave me back some of it. Like they recalculated and said, okay, here's a couple thousand back. But I paid taxes when I took the money out of the IRS account. And so I thought that was the end of it. Oh, I paid taxes. But then I guess it counts as wages, right? It wasn't that much. I only took out like 10,000 or something from my retirement. So they taxed it. And then I wrote that the travel to Israel was a tax write-off because it was. I was there volunteering. I wasn't there. Wasn't the best vacation. Not that I don't love my friends in Israel. Yeah, but at the end, and I had been paying a lot in taxes, but somehow, some way, I ended up having to owe $6,100. So, yeah. Do I think that Smith will investigate SCOTUS bad actors? I don't know if that's would be his investigation. Do you think that Smith would be involved in SCOTUS investigations? Let's take a look. Let me see if I can get any information on Smith. All right, Jack Smith at this time. He's in a position of power. His base card is Queen of Rods, and his karma card is that he's just going to have to go for it, the Fool. Where he's at right now, 10 of Cups, a celebration. His crossing issue is, this is very heavy. So we're talking about multiple cases with Jack Smith. His ascension is 4 of Swords. This is not someone who's acting irrationally. He's still getting confessions and cooperation from other people. He's got the Sword of Truth, Archangel Michael with him. Look at this action, reaction, action, reaction. From the past comes the future. Always action, reaction. You always want to look at this positioning. Past confusion leads to truth. Past confusion leads to truth. Then you look at the relationship between the 4th and the 6th house. From his thinking, from his higher meditation will come the Sword of Truth. What he's sitting in, Lovers, which is cooperation, reaching across the aisle. His 1st house. Look how patient this guy is. Doesn't he remind you of Robert Mueller? I don't have this type of patience. His opposition, holding on, secrets, hoarding. The hope and the fear, war, Knight of Swords, violence, malevolence. The final outcome for Jack Smith. The thief attempts to steal or get away with it. A thief. The clarification, large sums of money. I think that they uncovered large sums of money. Look at that, the truth over the opposition, the hope and fear, justice. Over the thief, prison. Thank you, Sheena. You're so sweet. Yeah. Might as well be honest. Did you guys notice this, by the way? A thief, but look at the outcome, 9 of Swords over this thief. And then here again, this Knight of Swords with justice. You know what amazes me is how many favors that Roger Stone has done for the GOP. I can't help but think that that's partly why it's so hard to incarcerate him. Don't you think? It is like the Mueller case all over again, Tariana, in the sense that we're right back to, it's almost like a soap opera, isn't it? And then you have the new person who's taking on the role. So now, instead of it being Robert Mueller, now it's Jack Smith. So this to me is like money stuff. Do you see this? And then over here with his opposition is a hoarder's card. 9 of Pentacles is to hold on to coin. It can be financial stability, but its dark aspect is hoarding. And look at this violence here over the Knight of Swords. This is like psychosis. And then justice is the courts. And then this thief is incarcerated. I think the final outcome is that I really do think that Donald Trump is going to be incarcerated. What do you guys think? I'd be curious what other readers, if other readers are saying, no, doctor, I look at it completely different. But this looks to me like incarceration for Donald, not just Donald Trump, but anybody that was part of an anti-democracy movement. Yeah. So, I mean, the takeaway is crime doesn't pay. Eventually you get caught. Thank you so much, Joel Tilshin. That's very generous of you. You're very kind. Oh, you think that Trump will be pardoned and then it would have to start all over again? Oh, you mean with Stone being pardoned all over again? Well, he was pardoned for previous stuff, but couldn't he be charged for something else? Good point about Roger Stone, which is that he was already pardoned and that but is that going to protect him if he gets called to have to testify in the future? Oh, Sterling thinks he'll end up in Saudi. Interesting. Let's take a look. You know, how's he get? But but would the U.S. let him leave the United States if he's facing federal charges? Doesn't the feds have the ability to control someone's ability to exit the country if they're facing if they're facing criminal charges? Let's take a look. I have no idea. I'm not a lawyer, but it seems to me like there's all eyes on him right now. And I don't know. Let's do some cards for Trump. Is Trump going to prison? Is he going to attempt to flee to Saudi Arabia? It could be that he was thinking about it, but I think he may have waited too long. I can't see Saudi Arabia agreeing to that because they have diplomatic relationship with the U.S. So if we ask them to hand over the person, they would have to hand them over. That's the other thing. Trump gets his wish. Trump is getting his wish regarding this. His opposition is judgment. His hopes and fears is the Knight of Swords. And his final outcome is sobriety. Over his wish, he gets, the Queen of Rods. He has some protection probably from Judge Cannon. He's got some woman protecting him. You know, he has delays. To some extent, Trump does have delays because he's got so much help from other people. You have to kind of look at it like that because you've got this Nine of Cups, he gets his wish, and then he's got this Queen of Rods with him. I'm thinking that's Eileen Cannon. His opposition, the G-Man, and then Judgment is against him. His hopes and fears, the Knight of Swords, is a kind of a violent act or a raid. He could be facing additional raid of some type, a new raid. His final outcome is the Hermit and Temperance card, Patience. I think that he's trying, to the best of his ability, he's trying to delay prosecution, and he may get his wish in terms of being able to delay prosecution. I'm not getting anything here about him leaving the country. This is more, I've used Queen Rods in the past to be Marjorie Taylor Greene, Eileen Cannon. But the takeaway of the Queen of Rods is that she establishes her place, her territory, and she's with him, giving him his wish. His opposition is the feds. The fact that the Hermit and Temperance card is there, it's all about delays, delays, delays. I'm curious if he's going to be reprimanded immediately to custody or if he's going to be able to delay going to jail until later. Let's take a look. What's going to go on with the appeals? Ten of Swords, he's devastated. He's extremely angry that this was allowed to happen. He feels betrayed. You know, he's the president. You know, that's kind of this feeling. His opposition is the judge, and he fears being financially wiped out. His final outcome is he's going to be incarcerated. Yeah. Well, every time I put myself in the shoes of Donald Trump, I always feel like I don't want to go back to that place that I was in before. I don't want to go back to that prison. I don't want to go back to that place again. And here he's already been incarcerated. He was in juvenile hall. That military place was basically juvenile hall. God only knows what those older men did to those kids when the doors were locked. He's been in prison. You know, when you put yourself into Trump's shoes, he's a helpless little boy who, I'll be good, I'll be good. He'll promise anything and everything not to go back to this prison. But even one day in prison is too much for this guy. He's not built for it. One of the things I wanted to close with today, the verdict in the trial will be guilty on many counts, but not all of them, and he will do prison time. We talked a little bit about the fact that the GOP was in civil war. Are people enjoying watching the Civil War? I guess that's what I should be asking you guys right about now. Are you enjoying the Civil War? So what we had said, we got you guys a little bit of a heads up, is we said that the GOP had no money, and the GOP had no money because all the money was going to be taken by the Trumps for legal reasons, and then that would harm the GOP down ballot, and they would begin to cannibalize one another. Is it fun? No, it's not fun if you're a Republican. Nobody wants to see Two of Swords on incarceration. Yeah, here. Denial, refusal. He carries a heavy sword. In a way, the person created it for themselves. Also, he was stabbed in the back multiple times, so he feels a sense of betrayal by those he trusted. An example would be the fact that Michael Cohen spoke against him, Stormy Daniels, etc. So people that he once thought fondly of, now he's stabbed in the back. He's in denial about it. His opposition, the King of Cups, is a good sign because the King of Cups is less aggressive than the King of Swords. And so he might have mercy over him. The fact that the Queen of Pentagon, which is the FBI, is working with the King of Cups, they might be gentle with him, but the Nine of Wands is the final outcome, and that's an incarceration card. Might be able to get out after a month or two. But the thing with Trump is I don't think that he would cope well at all with incarceration. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet. I want everything. I'm like sitting here thinking about what I want to eat. I want to eat Indian biryani, vegetarian biryani. You guys ever had vegetables and cashews and currants and beans and rice all cooked together with a nice curry, saffron. Oh, thank you, Frederick. You're so sweet. Oh, that was your first. They say that this is Frederick's first ever donation. So thank you so much. Oh, I don't know where to give a little heart to you, though. I apologize. Much, much love and appreciation. Thank you to Sutherland Jennings for the $10 donation. Oh, see, I can give you a little heart. See there? But for whatever reason, I can't give Frederick a little heart. I'm sorry, Frederick. Yeah, I don't know. You don't have a little room there for your little heart thing. I wish you all a best day. If you're trying to get in for a tarot reading with me, I would really appreciate it. Hopefully continue to pay those taxes off. If you need to see me as a naturopathic doctor also, I would love to see you for that as well. You can find that information below. All right, I'm out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. Thank you to the moderators and to Joel Tilson. That was very kind of you to come out and help. We'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone. Bye. Bye.